Welcome to another weekly edition of the Hellraiser vlog with Mickey Elliott. It's a busy afternoon in the Limehouse Marina Elite Gym.
It is busy. Busy week. Really, we're really sleepy and dead over Christmas, and unusually quiet. And then suddenly, just the last sort of 3 or 4 days, just gone wild. It's all gone mad again. And today we've got 3 heavyweights. I've just seen one in the lobby at Limehouse Marina. Big unit. It looks like proper heavyweight. So we've got 3 signing up. We've got Scott Welsh is bringing one. Scott Welsh was like a British champion, boxed for a world title. Now he trains boxers down in Brighton. We've got Kelly Maloney coming down. She's got a heavyweight ex-MMA fighter. So we're going to look at them all today, see who's where with it, and what we're going to do in terms of business. And another exciting thing for the year.
Well, it was a quiet start to the year for boxing in general, but we've got a lot to talk about, and we'll start off with Sam Eddington and Bradley Skeet.
Yes, purse bids come in yesterday. Eddie Hearn won the purse bid. I think that favours strongly in Eddington's favour. I fancy Skeet to outbox him, but I think if Warren had won it and it was in Bradley Skeet's backyard, much easier to keep. I think if you can box at a slow pace and make it a technical fight, then I think you can slow Eddington down, not get into a battle with him, then I think Skeet will win it. Now it's going to be in Birmingham in front of a big pro-Eddington crowd. If you've got the slugger in the slugger versus the boxer, that's what you want. You want it in your backyard where they can have as many different things. There's just so many little things like the changing rooms, the hotel, the communication of weigh-in times, of press conference, all this sort of thing. When you're the one promoting, you can make it weigh in your favour rather than the other guy. And I think really intriguing fight. I'll certainly be watching it. And that's the sort of fight as a boxing fan. I never buy tickets for boxing. Why would I work at shows every week, but that's the sort of fight that fans really want to see, and that's going to be a brilliant fight. I'll certainly watch it. If I can be there, I will.
Obviously, it's for the British title, and I mean, Bradley Skeet lost to Frankie Gavin. Frankie Gavin was supposed to fight Sam Eddington, and your own man, Larry Eckendale, is right up there as well. Is that a potential fight with either of those two that could happen this year?
It is. I mean, Eckendale just got rated in the EBU, in the European ratings, number 11. He's world rated by the WBC. It just sort of Larry's sort of trod water for a long time in his career, and I've only just been working with him the last 6 months really since we signed him up. We've put some meaningful fights. That's why he's got the rating and why now he can look at some big fights. Certainly, all those names you mentioned, that's the fights that we want for him. That we'll have. But you have to look at it from their side as well. Larry needs more development and more to be marketed a bit better, because we've had him for 2 fights, right? In those 2 fights we've got him. He's now mandatory for the Commonwealth. He's got the rating in the WBC ratings. He's now in the EBU ratings. That's sort of the first steps towards paving the way for him. I noticed the WBC actually upgraded his rating without him even boxing, so they've obviously had good reports about him, the right sort of messages about him, and that's what we've got to do. That's why you need a good manager, someone that can actually help raise you to the levels that facilitates those fights. Because, honestly, the Frankie Gavins, the Bradley Skeets, the Sam Eggingtons, they're not going to come after Larry looking for the fight. If Larry has a good rating, Larry's mandatory for the Commonwealth, they have to fight him. They want Commonwealth title, you have to fight Larry. And that's what we're going to do with him. And anyway, I favour actually Bradley Skeet. I think if he can, I favoured him a lot. I thought Warren actually was going to go massive with the bid and he would get it, because Skeet's a big seller, but actually so is Sam Eddington. And I think if Sam Eddington can sort of turn it more into a fight at close range, and Bradley Skeet knows that Sam Eddington's going to try and turn it into a fight, so he'll have his own plan, and I think I lean more actually towards Skeet, even though he's now going to be the away fighter.
Let's quickly touch on another British welterweight in Amir Khan, who has just been announced as mandatory for the winner of Garcia versus Guerrero.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. No, because we've all heard the messages that we're going to see the Kell Brook Amir Khan fight at Wembley June the 4th, which obviously now that's looking less and less likely. I mean, Wembley's available on that day, so maybe there'll be another fight there, I don't know. That's the one that I thought, okay, they'll go for that on that day at that venue. It's a big fight. Whether it's big enough to go to Wembley, maybe that was I don't know. But anyway, so now we're going to see Amir Khan, a big fight in America. That, I think, pretty much blows Brook out. I mean, Brook, I heard, is going to fight his mandatory, which, well, I reckon I would say certainly isn't on its own a pay-per-view fight. I mean, I know for him, he'd probably rather fight Amir Khan, obviously, but probably quite frustrating. He still had a good past 12 months. When I was out in Vegas when he actually boxed, he wasn't in Vegas. The fight was he trained in Vegas in the same gym that we were, but the fight was in California, I think. Anyway, he went away from home and took the title against Sean Porter.
Yeah.
So he's had a good run, and interesting times ahead. Hopefully we can get Larry
Well, right
into it at some point. Yeah,
never know. Quickly, we'll touch on the heavyweights. It was suggested that Chisora would welcome a fight with Dillian Whyte.
I'd say that's a really good fight. I'd be interested, really. I watched, that's the sort of fight that, for me, just my gut reaction to it is, well, that's a good fight, because you've got Chisora, who's sort of maybe more experienced, been around the block a few times, and Dillian Whyte, who, before he fought Joshua, I thought that was a crazy fight. You know what I thought? I thought actually even for Dillian it's a crazy fight, because I think Dillian built up, marked it the right way. That could have been a Wembley Stadium fight, in a couple of years' time. That could have been like a retirement paycheck almost for him, like covered for life. I mean, I've been told what he got paid. It's good money. Mm-hmm. I don't manage Dillian. People always think I do. He boxed on my shows. I promoted some fights for him, but I don't manage him. But it wasn't like retirement money, and I wasn't surprised at the trouble he gave Joshua at all, because I've made the fights, some of them, and I know the boxers that have boxed against him, and I've spoken to him after, and he can really punch Dillian. And I think actually, even though he lost, he probably done himself a big favour, because it marketed him, gets a couple of wins, and I think Chisora is exactly the sort of win that he needs to get. If Chisora beats him, which can happen, it's heavyweight boxing, then Chisora gets it. So I can see the motive why Soundland have gone for that, because Chisora's been very busy, so they're obviously interested in doing something good with him. For my money, I think Dillian Whyte beats him. Yeah.
Well, it's exciting times for the UK heavyweight scene, and we'll touch on Haye just now. We'll let you go, because the gym's starting to pack up a bit. If we just get your thoughts on the David Haye, Mark Damori on the weekend, betting advice.
Okay. I think Haye early. I think if you're going to bet on it, you've got to go for Haye early, because Haye has to do something spectacular. I know I've seen interviews where he's been saying, I want to get rounds in, but look, he knows what boxing's about. He doesn't need to for my money, he can get rounds in the gym. For me, what he needs to do is go out and show that he is an absolute league above this Damori going over, which he is. I've seen the clips of Damori that I've seen, I think there's about 4 that are on YouTube. I mean, he looks like he'd struggle to win the North East Divs, I can't see him giving. I mean, if he gives Haye any kind of problems, I think Haye's got a big problem, because Haye really now has got to be looking for a Joshua fight. That's got to be the only. I don't think Fury will give him the opportunity to box him again, which only really leaves one big fight, which is with Joshua, and I think. To make that fight, to make it work, and I know Haye, obviously he's promoting his own show. Financially, I'm not sure how it's worked out for him, but he can't just keep. I would imagine he's dropping money on that show, meaning that he will want to get back in with Joshua, and it makes sense for him to stay independent. which is why he's why he's not signed a deal with Matchroom. Probably because when he fights Joshua, he doesn't want to be told, right, well, that's the deal. You've got to, he wants to be independent and be able to sit down and say, well, all right, I'll do it, but I want this, this, and this, and they can sort of negotiate it that way. He will end up with more for himself.
So where does your money go on the fight itself on the weekend? Is it around? Do you see it going past around 2 rounds maybe?
Who knows if it'd be around? If I had to pick a round, I'd pick the first round. I would. I'd pick Haye early. Who knows? Look, 3 years out can be and he's come back much heavier. So who knows what shape he's in, or there's a lot of unanswerable questions there. I just think, having seen Demori, and I'm nothing against him, I've never met him, I don't really know him, I've only seen clips on YouTube, but technically he looks a league below world class. I know he's got a rating, but that to me doesn't tell me that he's a great fighter. I've watched videos of him and I'm not impressed. I think Haye's got to get this guy out of there spectacularly, quickly, in a fashion that promotes future, because I think Haye needs to box 2 or 3 times before he fights Joshua. At least one other time after this, maybe 2 other times after this. And he doesn't want to be forking out indefinitely, to make that fight happen. Just needs to go out, make a statement, get people talking about him. And I've seen on social media a lot of people, almost like an anti-Haye feeling going on. Like there's an advert on Haye on Facebook, and you just got like pages of abuse and this sort of all detracting. But I think I might put a tweet out about George Groves walked into the arena against Carl Froch, was booed, he was the bad guy, no one wanted to sort of give him a moment of their time. He lost the fight, but he came out there a hero and everyone was cheering him, and that paved the way for the second fight where he got paid much more money and Wembley Stadium, it was a much bigger event second time round. I think that's what Haye's got to do. He's got to forget, even if it is hard, look, you're preparing for a fight and all you're getting is like a tide of sort of negativity coming at you. He's got to just get his mind on the job, take this guy out, can't mess around, can't look bad, can't waste the opportunity. So on free-to-air TV on that Dave channel, he's got to go do the business and then look forward to a big fight in the summer with Joshua.
Well, maybe he can change people's feelings towards himself. Mickey, thank you for the chat today. A little more of a digested one because it's so busy out there. We'll let you get away.
They're all here.
Thank you, Mickey.
Cheers, Sean.